Well, a very good afternoon, folks. We thank you for joining our WheelHouse IT web series yet again. This series is dedicated to the Office 365 or Microsoft 365 experience and how do you collaborate with your team while working remotely and leveraging the tools that are at your disposal. Before we get started, we're going to kick things off with our housekeeping. You're encouraged to ask questions. On the right-hand side, you'll see a panel. There's a chat box there. It's our Q&A section, so you're encouraged to use that, and we'll be answering questions throughout the session. All questions are moderated. They will not show unless we as the moderators publish them to the general Q&A panel. We'd also love to know where everyone's viewing from, so take a moment real quick to kind of message in the Q&A section and type in the city, state, country, where you're at, and let us know. And then at the end of the webcast, a recording of this will be posted to our resources page at wheelhouseit.com/resources. Moving forward from here, a little bit about WheelHouse IT and why we're doing this presentation. We are an industry leader in the technology services space with a heavy focus in the Microsoft ecosystem. We support roughly over 250 clients across the US. With a focus really in Fort Lauderdale, New York, and Los Angeles, but we have clients that are kind of peppered throughout. We really enjoy breaking into the Microsoft ecosystem and allowing our clients and prospects to really leverage the tools that are there to help them collaborate and break things down and better use the technology at their disposal to run their business. With that said, I'm going to turn things over to Todd Rosales, who's going to kick off this presentation. And then again, as you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to throw them into the Q&A and we will moderate them accordingly. So Todd, it's all you know.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Rory, and thank you everybody for joining us today. We really appreciate you spending a little bit of your late lunch hour with us. Our goal here today is to walk you through the day in the life of a modern workplace user from Microsoft, right? And a lot of people out there are probably going to give you an idea of all the great programs and features that this has, but hopefully today's demo gives you an idea of how you can actually leverage this to work with your team. Now, obviously, we're not deaf. We understand what's going on with the pandemic, and most of you are having to support a lot of remote workers that you weren't having to support before. With remote work comes the challenges of supporting different devices, laptops, desktops, tablets, phones, Android, Apple, Windows. It just opens up a whole lot of challenges that we did not have to deal with before, correct? Beyond that, most of you are probably, if you are enabling your employees to work remotely, are remoting into a VPN server on your premise. Now, for those of you that are attending this in the state of Florida, we are, 2 days away from hurricane season? In that situation, if a storm were to come, that VPN server would not be available because you won't have power. And for however much time after the storm, you're going to have that same issue. By leveraging Modern Workplace from Microsoft, those issues go away. You can work anywhere off any device just as securely as you were in your office. So today, I'm going to be playing the part of Megan. The reason I'm playing the part of Megan instead of the part of Todd is because Microsoft has kindly set up a lot of these demos for us. So Megan is a business owner, and I'm going to show you how Megan goes about her day using the Modern Workplace from Microsoft. So we start our day in Microsoft Teams. If those of you are familiar with Slack, Microsoft Teams is basically if you were to take Slack, and if Slack and Zoom were to have a baby, and then that baby went to Harvard and then got its MBA from Wharton, that was basically what Teams is, right? It is a much more powerful, robust version of those two programs together. So as you can see here, this is kind of the Slack version of Teams. I've got different channels that I can leverage here to keep up with parts of my business, right? So I'm going to go over here, and we've got a very important launch coming up, the X1050 launch. So I'm going to go, and I know we have some meetings around design that need to take place. So you can see I can browse, and I can go ahead and scroll back up and see what my team's been doing, keep in touch with the conversation. But it's not just all seriousness, right? We miss kind of that workplace banter, you know, having our friends in the office and everything else. Teams will help us stay on top of that, right? So obviously we're dropping updates in here, we're dropping important work things, but when things go well, we like to celebrate. You can see, just like text messaging, we're gonna see emojis, we're gonna see GIFs in here. Just gives everybody the semblance of being in the office and keeping work fun the way that it has been as we're working together, right? But Teams goes much beyond just the ability to communicate with each other via text message or chat. This channel, which for the X1050 launch is specifically in the design tab, allows us to have shared workspaces where we can collaborate together. If you see here across the top, we've got different areas that we can click on. If I click on files, you'll see this is actually a document library that the entire team has access to, where we're sharing our design files for this particular launch. Another thing that we have where we're able to collaborate is we can add all sorts of different plugins, right? So if I wanted to have a OneNote plugin, if we wanted to create a Power BI channel, we can get into that another time, project management plan, and then a whole bunch of third-party apps that you can add as well, like Dropbox. Just to point a few out here, I think there's a HubSpot integration, so on and so forth. We can add any of these to this channel to make it more functional and integrate into any other apps that you might be using. We're gonna go back here, and the other thing that I want to show you is the shared notebook, right? So I go here, this is a place where you can keep minutes, you can keep notes, you can keep design notes. It looks like my team had a meeting last month. Here are the minutes of the meeting. I'm just reading these to catch up. You know, obviously they had the meeting without me, so this is a way that I can keep track. I'm not involved in all these meetings, but I do oversee this department, so I want to ensure that things are going as needed. Now that I'm up to speed with what's going on with the design launch, I think I need to meet with my team, okay? So within Teams, and we're not leaving this program. Now, I'm going to jump out of character here for a second and discuss one thing. If you'll notice, I'm right here in a web browser, right? So if I'm using a tablet or a Chromebook or anything else, I'm getting the same experience as if it was living as an application on my desk. If everybody else can mute, I'm hearing a phone call in the background and I don't believe it's mine. So I'm able to have the same experience whether I'm on my laptop, desktop, tablet, Chromebook, etc., because I have the same view whether it's in the browser or if it's living as an application on my desktop. So I'm going to go over and go to the calendar, and I'm going to go ahead and schedule a meeting for my team. So we're going to click New Meeting, just like you would if you're using Outlook or anything else. What Office 365 or Modern Workplace tends to do is give you multiple ways to accomplish the same task based on where you are. The goal is so you don't have to constantly switch between applications just because there's a certain task that you need to do. If that task makes sense, they'll give you another way to do it. So we're going to go and create a meeting for a design review. We want to make sure everything is finalized and looking good. Now, here is typically where I'd start having to be, okay, who's on my team? Let me go ahead and invite them. But I don't have to do that. Because we're leveraging Teams, I can actually go ahead and pick a channel from my Teams view, which you saw previously to this, and I can go ahead and create a meeting with the design team just by putting that meeting in the channel, right? Having said that, there are going to be numerous amounts of times where I'm going to have to invite other people, right? So there is a colleague of ours, Enrico. Enrico is going to help me give final approval on this. I can go ahead, add Enrico. And what it does is it not only lets me add Enrico, but it gives me a few suggestions of times throughout the day to host this meeting based on everybody else's availability. So in the past, a lot of you would take this through Outlook, share everybody's calendar, even if you did that, or for the most part, most people would start emailing around, hey, how does Tuesday at 2 sound? Oh no, I've got an appointment. I've got to take my daughter to the gym or whatever it is, right? Right here, it's going ahead, it's leveraging AI, and it's going to pull information from everyone's calendar and give me the best suggestions of the time to meet. So we're going to switch that based on the suggestion to 2:30, and we're going to go ahead and schedule this meeting, right? So the meeting's now scheduled, and we're good to go. It helped me pick 1 o'clock today. As you guys can see, here's my design review meeting right here. It's right on my calendar, and if we were to dig into this, the entire team would be involved. But Teams is more than just a Slack tool or a Zoom tool or something along those lines. Not only can I do this mass level communication with different departments within the organization, but there's also an area for one-on-one conversation, right? So I need to hook up with a colleague of mine, Lydia. I actually got a notification this morning that we needed to talk. I wasn't available at the time, so now I need to get back to Lydia. So I'm just gonna let her know, sure. You gotta actually click in if you're gonna start typing. I'm free now. Send it to her. Being Lydia is not actually a live person, she's not going to respond to me. So I'm going to assume that she's good to go. And not only, we're not going to talk here in this text chat, but I'm actually going to give Lydia a call directly from my Teams application. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to call Lydia. As I said, Lydia doesn't exist, so she's not going to pick up. So I'm just going to hang up on her. But you can see how you can take a conversation directly from chat into either a voice call or a video call. Now, if you do a video call, you're actually going to get a situation similar to what we're doing today with this Teams meeting that you guys are viewing. So you'll be able to share your screen, you'll be able to share files and things of that nature. Unfortunately, I can't show that to you because I am sharing my screen with you in this Teams meeting already. So the things are going to get kludgy. We don't need to get into that, but you can see the ability that Microsoft Teams has just from an extremely high level that allows you to work with your colleagues as if you were in the office with them. It's the closest thing we can do to give you that feeling without actually putting you in the office together, and who knows when we'll be able to do that again, right? So now that I've caught up on the launch of the 1050 and I understand the design and I've set a meeting with my team, I've hooked up with Lydia, everything that seemed to be pertinent for the day, I have the ability, I've already taken care of it. So I'm going to go out of Teams. Now, typically, what you would do if you wanted to leave Teams and go to your email, you click on this in the top left-hand corner. This thing that looks like a dial pad is called the application launcher. This is your best friend within Office 365. It's going to allow you to navigate throughout the entire suite of products, right? So we go ahead and click on Outlook. Just like on cooking shows, we've already got one in the oven. I'm here already, and here's my Outlook, right? So very similar view. This is something you all should be familiar with. It is your email inbox. Now, another comment going back to Teams is there's a theory going around that email should really be leveraged for external communications, right? It's actually a big debate between Slack and Microsoft, and people are saying that tools like Teams are going to be the future and email may not be as prevalent. I believe that's a very good thesis to follow because what it does is it declutters your inbox. We've gotten to a point where there is so much email that we actually have great tools from Microsoft where it leverages AI and pulls the emails aside that it believes are important to you and then categorizes the other one in the secondary inbox that doesn't necessarily clutter your main inbox. So you can see up here, I've got my focus inbox, and then I've got the other inbox. I can go ahead and click on other. I actually don't have anything in other. It probably has something to do with the way this tenant was created, but a lot of my automated emails will end up here. If any stores happen to get my email address, any newsletters that I read that I haven't marked as important will all end up in other. And then everything from my organization or what Outlook deems important will go right here into my focused inbox, right? The other nice thing about my inbox is it gives me the ability to start triaging message. As I said, there's a ton of emails that come in. You can see how many emails just came in this morning, right? I need to go ahead and find a way to triage that. So as I hover over these messages, Outlook is going to give me a few options that I can take. I can throw the message away. I can mark that I read that message. I can pin it. So this way it always stays at the top of my inbox. If you see that, that is a great tool. If there's a few that you need to respond to in a row and you don't have the time to do it, we're going to go ahead and unpin it. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and flag this message. What flagging the message does is it actually allows me to, it actually puts a task into my email, or I'm sorry, into my task folder here. And we can click over, even though this isn't part of the demo. But when I go to task, you'll actually see the flagged email is not coming up. Give me a second. This is what happens when you go off script. Well, if you guys give it a second, it will go back and the task will actually show up in your task folder. But until now, we have it as a flagged email, and it will go ahead and tell me that I need to follow up with that email. The other nice thing about this is as we're going through and I see I've got a message from Henrietta, need to talk about the project update. Henrietta went ahead directly and asked me to have a meeting, right? She said, let's go ahead, let's meet at Starbucks near campus. Here's the address. So instead of just replying to Henrietta and saying, okay, cool, let's do it, and then one of us sending a calendar invite, we actually can go ahead and you can see we have like this message, reply all, forward, and then there's another option. Whenever you see the 3 dots within Modern Workplace, that means that you have more options. So we're going to go ahead and click on more actions, and we're going to reply all by meeting. So everybody who's on this thread is going to be thrown into a calendar invite. So again, very smart tool. It leverages AI to help you with the scheduling, right? Scheduling is a giant pain in the ass. We've all been through it before. We've all, tried to figure out who's available when. Oh, I have this call. I forgot about this call. Right here, you'll see it shows a few times that both of us are free. I can go ahead and click on that time. If I were to switch the day, you'll notice those times change, right? So when I was here and we were on today, which is the 28th, we've got 10:30, 11:30, 4:30. Go ahead, let's switch to June 1st, 10:30, 11:30. So you can see, depending on what day I pick, it's going to go ahead and pick a schedule for me to, or a time spot that we can go ahead and schedule. Then we'll go ahead and send that meeting out to Henrietta. Her and I will meet at the Starbucks, and that is now scheduled. Now that I've had time to go ahead and review all of my email, I've been able to triage it. And for those of you that are business owners or CEOs, I'm sure that you wish it was this easy to triage your email, just going through 2 messages and having to do it. Clearly, that's for the purpose of the demo, but you guys get the picture, right? So now that I've gone through my teams, I've done all my important tasks for the day, I've triaged my email. Let's finally go to that calendar and see what's on it, right? So this is our calendar view within Office 365. Again, it's nothing special, but it's very easy to organize. The other nice thing about the calendar is a lot of us that are road warriors, we're going to different places. We have to deal with the weather, right? Especially if you live down here in Florida. Clearly, for most of us, we can set our watches at about 3 to 3:30 p.m. for rain, but in the rest of the country, you guys actually have weather that can persist all day. So you can see it actually pulls weather information directly in. I believe from AccuWeather, I'm not 100% sure, and I'm not sure if that matters, but you can see what is the weather for the day, so this way I can make a decision on the things I need to bring with me. The other thing I really like about this is if you do happen to not use the AI to schedule a meeting, you can actually go ahead and pull in your colleagues' calendars and overlay them on top of yours. So you can see right here, I've got Lydia's calendar over to my left. I'm able to click on it. It's going to go ahead and pull in her information. For groups, we actually have a marketing calendar that I can add. Unfortunately, when I set up this demo, I realized there was nothing on that marketing calendar, so it's not going to pull anything into it. But for that marketing group, for whatever was on that calendar, it would go ahead, just like you did with Lydia's appointments, pull those in and allow me to see my schedule alongside the marketing team should I want to meet with those people, right? So that is the calendar from Modern Workplace. The next thing that we're going to do is we've reviewed our teams, we've reviewed email, we've reviewed our calendar. Now we're going to go in and check our tasks. So clearly that didn't work for me last time, but we go here and you can see the tasks that we have listed for today. I've noticed today that today is Thursday and we have an investor proposal due on Monday. And I believe that that investor proposal needs to be worked on, right? So we're going to go ahead and schedule some time to work on that proposal. Luckily, I've already got that pulled up. We'll pull it up here, and here is my investor proposal, right? You know, I got to be honest with you, looking at this proposal, it's not the best, right? If I were to pull this and send it to a client, they'd probably laugh at me. But you know what? I'm a business owner. I'm not the designer. My designers not ready. So let me see if I can leverage PowerPoint to make this a little bit prettier. So this way, when I send it over, I don't get laughed at, right? So you can see here, we can go, and if we go to home, there's actually design ideas. So we have our title slide. This one's pretty cool, right? I'm sure they'd be pretty impressed if the title slide was moving. I'm not sure if they've ever seen that again, but if you notice, this is actually pretty intuitive, right? So if I go to the second slide, it notices that there's actually an agenda. And if you look on the right, the designs change based to pull those milestones out, right? So I can go ahead and click on the agenda, and we've got different logos. It pulls in a nice design. We can go ahead and actually do this for all of our slides here, right? We can make this one look a little bit prettier, change the, maybe add some graphics to it. And then for the last one is next steps. You know, we can even change this into a timeline, right? So now we've gone and we had this very, very boring investor presentation, which now looks much better, a little bit more professional, and it's probably going to be a little bit more impressive when we send this over than the blank presentation that I had before. So with that being said, this is just me working on that, right? Again, if I were in the office right now, I'd probably go ahead, I'd contact Lydia and say, hey, Lydia, this is something that we need to work on together. I really wish, can you come to my office and join me? Well, given the scope of what's going on now, we're not able to do that, right? So how am I able to work with Lydia to edit this document? So there are multiple ways that we can do that. The easiest way is if I was in the document, I can go ahead and I can click share right here in my top right corner. It's going to go ahead and load this. And the reason they tell you not to do it this way is because it takes a few extra seconds, but I can go ahead and actually invite Lydia right from here, right? Boom, send it to Lydia. Now, the other way that we can do this is to navigate over to SharePoint, right? And this is already set up. Let's pretend it's not. Sorry about that, folks. Here's a list of all the files that I have. The investor presentation is in the private info folder. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click here. You'll see here's my investor proposal. I'm going to go ahead here, share. That same box is going to come up, and I can go ahead and share that with Lydia. We're going to go ahead and send it to her. Now Lydia has the link for that, right? So what does that look like on the other end, right? So hopefully this works, and this is where I was having problems earlier, but yeah, let's go ahead and refresh this. Once I refresh this, you can actually see that all the changes that I made as Megan are now right here in this investor proposal, right? So you can see once I refreshed it, and it doesn't work when it's left open, but I refreshed it, all of those design changes I made are right here. Now the other cool thing I can do is we're gonna click in, we're gonna click in here, and now you can see when I pull up my PowerPoint, you can see right here, and it says unknown user. I'm sorry about that, folks. It has to do with multiple tenants and being logged in with multiple people. But what this would typically go, if it was showing correctly, this would actually show me that Lydia is in the document, the same document as me, and I can see her that she's editing this part of the proposal right here on her computer, right? So if we switch back, boom, this is where I am. And now you can see from Lydia's view, and maybe this is the one that I should have showed you, that Megan is also in the same area. If we were to pop back, I can even pick another one, right? We're gonna go right here. Not that, sorry. And now you can see here that Megan is here and Megan is editing here. So similar to inviting somebody into your office to join you to work on that presentation, we're actually able to do that without having to be in the same office. We can work together as if we were in the same room, and we can go ahead and see where each other are editing and work on it together. On top of that, we can pop into Teams and have a conversation about it as well. The last thing that I'm going to show you guys is there are a lot of third-party applications or just ancillary applications from Microsoft that will allow you to have public-facing websites and other things that easily integrate back into back into your Office 365 programs such as Outlook or your tasks or anything else. So this is actually a program called Bookings. And if we go here, it will pop up so you can see, just like any other program within Office 365, it is right here in your application launcher. Now, what Booking does is exactly just that. If you are a business that has to deal with the public and you are mostly by appointment, you can absolutely have a public-facing calendar to have your clients make appointments with you. You can have it on Facebook, you can have it on a website, and you can set the parameters around those appointments to make sure that you get the ones that you want, right? So we can go here and we can see a booking page. You can see I have a lot of controls around the pages that I want to create. I can make it so it's only internally. I can have it face externally. I can talk about the time increments, right? So how long do these meetings take place? Minimum lead time, right? So I actually have it here for an hour for the sake of demo purposes, but you can put it so people can only book meetings 3, 4, 5 days out and how far ahead. So I have it where they can book it up to a year. We can add particular staff. So whatever staff members you have that are going to be eligible to be booked. And then we can even add services. So here you can see there's an initial consultation. We want to add another service. We can call this, turnkey solution, right? And then we can go down here. We can actually adjust a price, right? We can say it's starting at, and go ahead and put $100 in here, and then boom, we can go ahead and add another service. Very easy to do, very simple. And then we go ahead and save this, and this is another service, $100, you can get a turnkey solution, right? The last thing that I want to show you is this is actually what that booking page looks like after the fact, right? So if I want to go ahead and schedule an appointment, I can click here. I'm going to pick it for 2 p.m. What staff? I'm going to book it with Megan for 2 p.m. I'm going to add my details. Rosales. Boom, booked an appointment. Now, if we go on the other end of that, and we're going to go back to Outlook, let me go to my email, you can go ahead and see that those bookings have showed up. Right, so here's a new booking that I did earlier today from Adele Vance. Adele sent us a booking. It's going to go ahead, it's going to show up as both an email reminder right here. So you can see Adele has an initial consultation with Megan today at 10 to 11. And then if we actually go over to my calendar, those bookings will be there as well too, right? So give this a minute to load, and you can see we've got, here's the initial consult, here's another initial consult. Both of these were booked today. Here's the one with Adele Vance that I showed you for tomorrow. We're right up at a half hour here, folks. So this is pretty much the end of the demo for today, but I hope leveraging the programs that we had, we're able to give you kind of an idea of some of the ways that you can leverage the programs within Modern Workplace to truly work together as if you were in the same office. Now, I know that these are great features and everything else. For you end users, this is exactly what you need to see. This is how you're going to work with your colleagues. You can do this across multiple applications. I'm not sure if Rory actually has me up on camera, but if I can show you from my own personal standpoint, you can see right here on my iPhone, I have those same applications that I can work off of from wherever, right? So for an end user, this is a phenomenal tool for those of you with kids who just have a very busy home life trying to integrate it into work. It works very nice if you're trying to make your kid a sandwich and you need to respond to emails or team meetings or anything else. You can do a lot of it directly from your phone. For you business owners, right? Where this gives you the advantage is the granular control you can have around security and compliance. We can actually create a bubble, for lack of a better term, around the data within Modern Workplace to ensure that it never leaves your quote unquote corporate network. What we're doing is taking your centralized security Active Directory, moving it to the cloud, and then having your centralized security in the cloud. So no matter what device that data is on, no matter what application it's on, you can actually control the access to it. It's so granular down to the point, if you send somebody an email and they wanted to copy something out of that email, you can actually control it so they can only paste it into other corporate applications. Not another email application, not the Notes app on your phone, or not anywhere else. You dictate that. So again, tried to rush through this. I hope you guys got some value out of this. We're going to be doing this as a series, so please check back in with us for more of these great demos. If you guys have any requests to make, anything you'd like to see, we'd be happy to meet with you one-on-one. Just drop your information in the chat box, send us an email, and we'd be happy to get back to you. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Rory to close us out.
Thanks, Todd. That was great. On the screen, you'll see that how to find this webinar as well as other resources that we've made. Visit wheelhouseit.com/resources. As Todd said, feel free to reach out to us directly and we'll be able to help you out accordingly. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, ideas, want to figure out how to best leverage this for your business, we're here to help you out. Additionally, on Tuesday, June 16th at 1 p.m., the second part of this series will be with the National Hurricane Center to kind of walk through storm season and how you can prepare your business for a storm. With that, we do thank you for joining us. We look forward to speaking with you soon. Thanks.